Yes, people, welcome back to AlbertJTV. It has been a while, but it is that time again. Hashtag live Q&A. But before we get into it, ladies and gentlemen, let's hit the intro. Yes, people, welcome back. Welcome back again to AlbertJTV. Yes, it's been, it's been a while since done a live Q&A. I've got a very good memory, but even I cannot remember. Probably in between trying to do things on my channel in terms of content and also trying to support my Arsenal content creators on their YouTube journeys as well. Big up to all of you guys. You know who I'm talking about. But people, before we get into this, you should definitely know what to do by now. And there you have it once again. If you haven't already, smash that like button. You see my Instagram or my Twitter above my head. So follow me on my social media. And like I said, hit that notification bell for when my content comes out and you'll be the first to know about it and see it. So people, when you do arrive in the chat, announce yourself. You've got Craig already. Big up to you. Anthony, my bro, Republic of Arsenal. People, go and check out my fellow Gooners channel. Craig, people, go and check out his channel. My Instagram brother is in the house. So yeah, I mean, guys, feel free, obviously, Q&A, drop in some questions and I will ask them as best as I can, even if they're not even Arsenal related. Let's open it out and try and tap into whatever football knowledge that I do have. It's contrary to opinion, by the way, going by social media, Twitter and Instagram. Let me big up, let me see who's in the chat. Shane, big up to you, mate. Big supporter, thank you. Mark, of course, man. Big supporter to me on my channel as well. Guys, I appreciate your time and your effort because for me, you know what? I've said before in the previous content that yes, do I want to make a go of the YouTube thing on football? Of course. There's a hell of a lot of content out there. That's just Arsenal alone. You think the amount of YouTube channels that are out there? Jesus Christ, I like to there probably someone has got a job to sit down and count how many people got channels, YouTube channels related in regards to Arsenal. But yeah, it's mad. Right, let me big up some more people in the chat, man. You guys are coming in force, thick and fast. Go on, Rich. People, go and subscribe to over and over again the Positive Arsenal channel. Rich, love always, man. Always make time for you, man. Always make time for me. That's how it should be. That's how it should be. And yeah, see you put a question there already. I'm gonna get to it in a minute. My brother Guna Souls, he's in the house, man. Go and subscribe to Guna Souls' channel, people. If you don't do it now, do it after the live Q&A. Georgina, the Cornwall bestie. Hope you're doing well down in Cornwall. Hope the weather's not too bad, not working too hard. Respect to you for joining in the chat. Let's get to the first question before I start rambling on and on and on. Before I do that, smash the like button, like I said, people. What do we do at Republic of Arsenal? Big up for the question, mate. What do we do with Laka? Commit to a new deal or time to sell and reinvest? $1 million question and a very, very good question. From the guys in the chat already, you probably know what I'm going to say in regards to my answer to the question, but of course I will tell you. My thing with Lacazette is, I'm not saying he's a terrible player or a terrible striker. I just think for the money we invested in him, and I look at his goals return at Arsenal, I don't personally think the deal's worked out. I take into consideration if I'm talking about recent times under Arteta and we played a 4-2-3-1 formation. for me, he's the ideal striker at the club to play that role in the lead line. The only issue you've got is he is not ruthless enough. He is not clinical enough. And people can say what they want to say about Didier Deschamps, but he's a World Cup winning manager, and he's not included this guy in the French squad. I think it's over 2.5, 3 years. If I'm right off the top of my head. So I would have sold him. I would have sold him already. He wouldn't even be at the club. As you guys would have known, and if that's the question, mate, I don't have too much sentiment towards any of these group of players. Not just this season, maybe the last 5 years, maybe the last 10 years. I just want what is the best for Arsenal Football Club. You know, I don't put any of these footballers on the pedestal. As much as I might love Kieran Tierney, for example, as you guys know, Bukayo Saka, fellow Nigerian brother like myself, you know, if you don't want to stay at the club, if your performances are not good enough, if the badge is too heavy for you, you need to be moved on. So hopefully I've answered your question, Anthony. If I haven't, then I'd have to answer it again. But yeah, I think it's time to sell him. I mean, like I said, if that rumors are true, at the beginning of the season that Roma were interested in him and they were talking about 30 mil, mate, I would have taken the flying lessons to take him to whatever the national airport is in Italy. I just think it would have been a no-brainer. Absolute no-brainer. Anthony, big up to you, my brother. Goodness souls, doing YouTube, what would you want known for, or what? Sorry, doing YouTube, what would you want to be known for, or legacy would you like to leave? What a question, $1 million question. You would have seen my sort of. I did a post this morning, like thanking people, as you should do, to be honest with you, when people subscribe to a YouTube channel or they watch your live streams. Because the thing is, as much as I want a big success, and yeah, people talk about the monetary terms and 1,000 subs and whatever you do, whatever you earn income wise. But for me, and Callum McFadden said this when he came on my show on Live Stories Part 2. Big up Callum McFadden and James Rowe, by the way. Great broadcaster, journalist, man. And he said, you know what? Having people's time is more than anything, because they don't have to tune into your channel. So I take it as a privilege that people want to come and listen to what I've got to say. Whether people agree or they disagree, that's another issue. That's you know, that's freedom of speech, and you know, people are entitled to their opinion, long as it's not offensive, and you know, you're making direct, you know, comments about somebody in an unflattering way. But yeah, like I said in part of that tweet I sent this morning, Guna Souls, mate, I said be authentic and quality over quantity, and that is a legacy I would like to leave. As I said to you before, guys, I see a hell of a lot of content out there in regards to YouTube, and for me, and it's different because I think with Instagram and Twitter, I think they're very different. I think they're very, very different. Yes, you're gonna have people come on there, maybe they attack you personally or attack your views about football, but I think they're completely different platforms. Twitter, the toxicity with that has in the last 5 years has been awful, to be honest with you. And that's not just about football, it could be about politics. We had that with the, you know, the Brexit, leave and remain. It got to a point where it goes beyond opinion. And that's not cool with me. It's not cool with me at all. Anthony, great answer, bro. Cheers, bro. Georgina, speaking heart and being real is the best thing to see as a viewer. Keep it up. Thank you, Georgina. Your kind words mean a lot. Trust me. Yeah, it's a weird one. I touching on what Gunnar Sol's kind of question. Hopefully, I'll answer it a bit more. And what Georgina's comment is there is when I sort of started the whole YouTube thing. I'd been said to by friends, you know, I'm surprised you hadn't sort of got into it 2-3 years ago. I've mentioned this before on Live Stories. I think it was the second episode, and it's not that I didn't want to do it, and it's just that I just never really sort of got round to sort of doing it. And I think anyone that starts YouTube, right, male or female, everybody starts with a camera phone. I mean, I don't know anybody that started YouTube who's got the most plush camera, the best laptop ever. You just don't do that because you have to think of a budget. Not everybody's made of money. You don't have to go and spend a fortune to start this thing. You just have to be confident in what you say. And the YouTube thing, you know what? It's a long game, man. It's like like my friend Callum McFadden said. There's no shortcuts, man. There isn't. It's a long grind. And I didn't come into this with my eyes firmly shut. I knew that, you know, some people within the Twitter world, particularly Instagram, even you get it when people drop comments down in your videos. They say some pretty not really nice things, you know what I mean? But I'm big enough and ugly enough to take it, to be honest with you, because what I said quite probably a few months ago, two things I won't respond to, particularly on Twitter. If someone calls me a liar or they call me toxic, I'll block you just straight away. Because as a football fan, forget being an Arsenal fan, as a football fan, you can't engage intelligent conversation, debate with somebody who's willing to go down the lines of calling you toxic. Because where do you go with that conversation? It's impossible. So yeah, that's me speaking the truth as best as I can. That's a brilliant Republic of Arsenal. Anthony, much love. There's a brilliant way to look at it. People's time is worth more than the money. It's true, man. It's true. I remember Callum McFadden said that to me, and it's very, very true. Yes, there's a monetary side to it, bro, that we as YouTube content creators want to, you know, we want you get a lot of subscribers and make a career out of it if we're lucky, because, you know, I don't know what the actual percentage is, but there's not many YouTubers that are full-time. There's not many at all. It's probably a lot smaller percentage than you think it is. So that's why I say it's a long grind. You know, YouTube for football is not for everybody. It's a simple message. If you don't like it, don't watch it. It's as simple as that to me. Much love to you, bro. Absolutely. I know I'm the favorite choice who inspired you growing up. Good question. You know what it is? As much as I love football, I love a lot of sport. I'll be honest with you. I'm a massive tennis fan, massive golf fan, massive cricket fan, huge athletics fan. When I was a lot younger, even though most of you guys know my age by now anyway, and if you don't, I'm not going to tell you, but you'll probably guess it anyway at some point. It's a big birthday this year. That's what I will say. I remember in secondary school, sort of my form tutor or form teacher, whatever you call him now, was really pushing me to go in the athletic side of it, because, you know, I loved athletics. I was 100, 200 meter champion 4 years in a row. And I loved athletics. And Linford Christie was a massive inspiration for me growing up watching sport as a young black kid growing up. He's the first thing I kind of remember in terms of probably sporting icon ability. I remember, I'm old enough to remember 1992 Olympics in Barcelona and him winning that 100 meter gold. It was it was a big moment. And, you know, I saw someone who represented this country in Britain at a world level taking on the might of America when it came to sprinting. And he was a huge influence for me, to be honest, as a sporting icon. In terms of football, I've made no secret, Ian Wright was a massive influence for that. Very massive influence for me, supporting not just supporting Arsenal, but when I played football at a decent level. Very good level, actually. I was around the time sort of when I trials at Charlton, when Scott Parker was still there, and he was sort of the hot property, and, you know, he did the McDonald's advert when he was a kid, and yeah, we kind of knew he was going to make it. So that's what I lost my train of thought now. But yeah, growing up, yeah. So Ian Wright was a huge factor, man. Massive factor. I look at people like Denise Lewis in athletics, Kelly Holmes. You know, sort of what you want is, mate, Greener Souls, and hopefully people in the chat will understand this as a young black kid, you want to look at people who look like you and, you know, achieve greatness, because that is what breeds success. You know, you need role models. You need people to look up to, and, you know, those are sort of the people for me. So Ian Wright, Linford Christie, big says in, you know, my sort of growing up. Oh, Shane, good question, mate. Picking one player from each title winning Arsenal team. Give me your five-side team. Wow. Jesus. Well, everybody knows my goalkeeper. You know what? As much it's going to be David Seaman, Shane, but I have to shout at Jens Lehmann. I just thought the guy was. He just had. There was something about Jens Lehmann that had you mesmerized. He didn't take no crap. He had presence. He had charisma, and he's somebody. If you're going into the war, if you're going into the trenches, you want someone like Jens Lehmann behind you. 5-star team. So Seaman would be in goal. Oh God, I'd have to pick Tony Adams. And trust me, Sol Campbell very high up there, by the way. So Seaman, Adams, midfield. Cool, I've got to go Patrick in it. Jesus Christ. So what am I doing? 2 defenders, isn't it? No, let me have 2 defenders. So Tony Adams and I love Lauren. To be honest, you know what? Lauren is actually my favourite fullback at Arsenal. People might think I'm crazy. Lee Dixon's obviously around my time, but and I love Dicko, but for me, Lauren just for someone that was a midfield player and played as a fullback, I thought I don't remember many wingers getting the better of him, particularly when Ryan Giggs used to play against him a lot in the battle of Arsenal Manchester United. He very rarely got beaten in his position. He was rock solid, Lauren. So I'm gonna go because I could easily go at Campbell Adams. I want to be a bit of variety, Shane. So Seaman, Adams, Lauren, Vieira, Ian Wright. Is that good for you, Shane? Hopefully it is, mate. Hope you don't disagree with that. Arsenal Lounge in the house. Big up to you, man. Thanks for having me on your channel, man. Love being on there, man. Good to meet you. Good to mix with you guys and come together with other Arsenal fans. Bigger plans, brothers. Somehow the YouTube and Twitter brings out the worst in people. Yeah, it does, man. And like I said, guys, it's not just the football thing, it's entertainment. I'm not a massive politics person, but I have my views about certain things and political parties. But I just think with Brexit, it brought out a really, really dark side of people. And it manifested itself so many times on Twitter. It was you sometimes with social media, you got to know when to give yourself some me time and not let it sort of take over your life, which is very easy to do. We've had a lockdown for well over a year now. 3 or 4 lockdowns now over the last year. Mental health is a massive thing. Big up Craig from saying what Arsenal is going to do. I know I've caught a tweet. He said he's going to do something about mental health for 11 o'clock tomorrow morning. So guys, check it out if you get the chance to. I wish, man. Solzy 21 plus VAT, man. Anthony, can't wait till we can all meet up and celebrate the 21st. Absolutely, mate. When things are back to normal and I'm a bit sorted, and yeah, I'll be there to Ireland, man, to come see you and Megan, man. Absolutely. And Solzy, we'll have to sort something out in Manchester, whatever. Surely you can't remember the 30s. Mark, I'm a lot older. It's a lot of cocoa butter and Vaseline has kept me looking very youthful. And the fact that I don't drink probably helps, or smoke. Guys, get your questions in. Guys, if you haven't already, smash the like button and hit the notification bell. And I know most of you have got me on my Instagram and Twitter. For those who have both platforms, massive respect to you all. I have Lauren right back in all time. Yeah, I do. You know what it is, Andy? It wasn't an easy choice. Like, don't get me wrong, I don't dismiss Lee Dixon, but for me, Lauren, he was just solid, man. And it wasn't just a case of he would just fly into tackles and hurt people. He would actually, this guy would proper crunch you, man. I loved Lauren at Arsenal right back. Loved him. Yes, Gossip TV. Sophie's in the house, man. Royalty for YouTube. Sophie, smashing it, doing big things. Guys, if you haven't already, go and subscribe to Sophie's channel. If you haven't done it already, I am shocked if you haven't done it. Sophie, we'll have to get you on again and come up with something. Whatever collaboration we'll come up with something. Let me read your question. Hi, Albert. Hope you are well. Trying to be. If you could have any football on your channel, who would it be? Wow, brilliant question. Also, is there any football shows you'd love to go on? Oh, is that YouTube wise? Sophie, I think you mean the football shows. I'll answer the first part. Any football on your channel? Who would it be? You know what? I'd have to say Wright, Ian Wright, Sophie. I just love the guy. And you know what it is with Wright? I think for people that there's people in the chat that probably wouldn't have seen Ian Wright play in his pomp, you know, latter part of Crystal Palace days, even going that way back, or you know, when he came to Arsenal for 2.5 million and we'd already won the league. I think it was, guys, Mark in the chat. I know you're in the chat. Oh god, we won the league the season before Ian Wright come. What year was that? From right off the top of my head, was that 91 or 91, 92? I'm not sure. And people was kind of like, oh, why are we buying Wrighty? I think Wright even said it actually one time. He was interview saying like, oh, you know, KC was at the club. Obviously, Alan Smudger Smith, who I love, won the league title when he lost one league game. Thinking, oh, you know, how comes, you know, but Ian Wright, £2.5 million, man. So Sophie, definitely him, absolutely him. If I was thinking of current footballers now, oh, it's a good question, man. I'll tell you, I'd like to interview current footballer wise who's still playing. I would like to interview. I like to interview Kevin De Bruyne actually. I just love watching him play. I think he's an outstanding footballer, absolutely outstanding. Yeah. So if I see a follow-up question, it can be YouTube and it could be on TV. I would say way back in the day. I wouldn't say, no disrespect to Soccer AM now. I would say back in the day when sort of Lovejoy and Helen Chamberlain were doing it. I'd love to have been on. I would have loved to have gone on there. In terms of YouTube, God, there's quite a few actually. Because I respect some of the guys' channels. It's when you talk about football and you have context, whether people agree or disagree with you, if you have context to it, because it can't just be passion alone. You can't just be effing and blinding. You like have some logic to what you're saying. There's a lot of people that give a lot of good context. So Sophie, I would say I love to go on the hybrid squad. I love Sophie and Amanda. I think they're brilliant. Tom, Guna, Talk TV, quality again. And I do like it's gone out my head now. Hugh Wizzy. Hopefully that answers your question. Oh, you guys are flying the things in the chat, man. Big up Lottie in the chat. Politics is so touchy. Opinions not all the same. Yeah, I know. It's tell me about it. Arsenal versus Ajax for Champions League 2021. Ooh, possibly. I think Man United fans might have something to say about that. Stay Corbin. Big up to Stay in the Corbin. Nice, you know, regular Instagram viewer on my channel and always interacting. So big up to you, man. Guys, if you've got Instagram, go and follow my guy there. Go and follow him now. ASAP. My South African brother. Guys, tell me where you are in the country, whether that's in the UK or abroad. I want to hear where you're coming from, man. I'm in lovely southeast London, New Cross Gate. I live near the old Millwall football ground. Yeah, the Den, not far from the new one. Follow up Sophie's question: dead or alive, or one of each of foot? Sorry, dead or alive, or one for each outside of football. Who would you love to talk to? Dinner on podcast. Oh God, dead or alive? You know what? Pele would be one, absolutely. Some of the footage I've seen in that guy, man. Just, you know what it was? I think people sometimes, obviously with Brazil and the Latin flair and the skill, it's great, but Pele was deadly, man, for some of the footage I see of him, man. Absolutely. Dead or alive, one of for each outside of football. Outside of football. Oh, there's a few cricketers that I'd love to have met. Let me come back to that, Guinness. So go, Guinness Souls, keep that question in your mind and remind me towards the end when I might wrap up, because I wanted to have a little think about that. Steve Corbin, yes, I only saw that quite recently actually, because I've been a bit busy today. It's I totally understand why he's done it, man. It's a tough one because I've said this before in regards to because I'm assuming obviously with Thierry Henry making that statement that I saw he put on his Instagram post and Twitter, I think as well, that he wants to see sort of more or less things done in terms of the sanctions and you know racism and many other things. Actually, my issue is I did a piece on social media and the media. Oh God, the end of last year, I think it was, and I've always said I'm not really sure in terms of a moral compass what these social media companies have got. That's the first thing I'll say. And secondly, when's they're going? What's the tipping point? When is enough enough? You know, we have high profile sportsmen or people in entertainment coming out, you know, coming out in their droves, coming out some very strong wording, coming out some very strong statements, and still nothing has been done. If they really wanted to do something, and it's a pretty simple answer, they would do it. There's a reason they haven't done it. People tell me what the reason could be, because I don't get it. I mean, I don't know what has to happen for there to be a massive sea change with social media and letting people use your platform. You know, whatever organization you work for, or whatever company you work for, whatever you guys do for a living, or what, or, you know, whatever work you do outside of YouTube, well, you have a responsibility to create an environment where it's, one, prosperous, and two, that people are not having to leave your platform because they feel as though nothing has been done to make your platform inclusive and better. And that's the issue. So hopefully that answers your question, my friend. Yeah, I got that, Sophie. Hopefully I answered that question. We signed him 91, so he won the league. Right, here we go. Right, okay. That's right. Cheers, Anthony, mate. Ian Wright, quality. God, you guys are smashing it in the chat, man. Jesus Christ, mate. Guys, I'm gonna come to some of your comments in a moment. I'm gonna say, what's your thoughts on I'm gonna get him up on the screen and possibly put some questions to me if possible. You might not be able to even want to talk about this person, but Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang. Yeah, what's your thoughts, man? I mean, I'll tell you mine briefly. It's a weird one. It is a weird one because I look at it and he's been playing in an Arsenal side where we haven't been good for a very long time, or since the time that Pierre-Emerick Aubameyang's been there. And his goals record has been phenomenal. Let's be honest. So with the first 2 seasons, and we fell into a situation where we weren't creating chances. You know, people often say goals win matches, defenses win you league titles. And we wasn't creating chances for him. And he was still, you know, first 2 seasons, what is it? Top goal scorer in the Premier League. Incredible stat considering the lack of quality at this football club in certain areas. But this season has really shocked me how he has just fallen off a cliff in terms of performances. I think it's not that people didn't want Aubameyang to sign it. It was the case of, we had Mesut Ozil at the time at the club on a lot of money and not playing. We've given Aubameyang that bumper contract for what he has done. And on top of that, you've given Willian a very big contract as well, a 3-year contract. So, but even I'm shocked how bad he's been this season. I think he's been awful. I do take into account, before people jump down my neck, that, you know, the issues in terms of his mum's health. And listen, if you're talking to somebody about, you know, family, listen, you guys know I've been very, very open about my life outside the YouTube world, losing my mum to COVID last year in April. So of course that's going to play on your mind. Like, I don't disprove that at all with Aubameyang, but there's been a lot of games this season for me he shouldn't even have played. I get people say the argument of, yeah, but he's got credit in the bank. I understand that, but even sometimes credit in the bank runs out. You understand? So, you know, it is a tough one. And you know, like I said, if you're going to play that system with the 4-2-3-1 with him, you play him or Lacazette. You know, we've got some big football matches coming up, and Arteta's, I think, is going to stick. He's going to live and die by his sword with certain players. I wouldn't put Aubameyang in that category. I'm talking about the likes of Luiz and Xhaka and Bellerin and who's the other guy, and Willian are the 4 main protagonists who he's going to live and die by his sword, Arteta. But I wouldn't say that applies to Aubameyang. But we'll see how it plays out. From what I've seen in terms of the body language and his input in games, it's not great. And usually when something's not great, it doesn't have a very happy ending, which I hope it doesn't turn out to be the case. But like I said, we've got some very important games coming up. Cup finals, big games, you know. But yeah, let me get back to some of the comments and questions. Big up, you guys. Smash the like button if you haven't already. Please do. Big up Glenn in the chat. Glenn, man, much love, man. Thanks for tuning in, my friend. Yeah, I love Kevin De Bruyne. Glenn, you know what it is? When I'm sort of away from the pressure cooker of watching Arsenal, because it can just drive you, pardon my language, fucking mad sometimes. I love to watch when you watch other players play, and they make it look effortlessly. They make it look so easy. I mean, he's final ball, De Bruyne, is almost like kind of, I would say David Beckham-esque in his pomp. I mean, he could pass the ball for an eye of a needle, you know, long distance, short distance. De Bruyne goals, left foot, right foot. If I was a striker, I'd love to have a play with him in my team. A brilliant footballer. Brilliant footballer. What have we got in there? Sophie. I'd love to interview Wolf Star because he's such a down to earth guy. Yeah, he's humble and a lovely human being. He's well spoken, has had so much passion for football. Good shout, Sophie. Good shout. Guys, pop the questions in if you can. Pop them in. Gary, my guy, man. What's the time in the States, man? Now, Gary, what are you? Are you 4 hours ahead or 4 hours behind? I can't remember, man. Yeah, Sophie, big shout. Sophie, I hope to see you on there. I'll keep retweeting, and Sophie Manda, if you're watching, get Guna Gossip TV on your channel. Yeah, guys, keep the questions coming in. It's a weird one. I mean, this season, right, for example, has been like no other season. You know, there was a stage where I think we're sitting in 10th position. Is that correct? There's one stage, or maybe it's still the case now, where we had the second or third best defensive record in the league, but we're sitting in 10th. You think, how does that make sense? It just doesn't make sense, man. And, you know, like I said, with the Arteta thing, I'm going to come on to Arteta actually. Guys, drop your questions in, drop your comments in. With Arteta, you know what it is? I think where people, I said this quite a while ago, where people who are, you know, the whole Arteta out thing, for example, they're so far entrenched with they don't want him as the manager. It doesn't matter what he does. Subs, team lineups, winning football matches, draws. It honestly doesn't matter because they've already made up their mind. This guy, they don't want him experienced, you know, blah blah blah, this and that. And then you've got sort of the other aspect where they're so Arteta in. It's like, you know, just take a step back, look at the bigger picture, and then sort of make your assessment. Listen, you can't tell people what to think. They're going to think what they're going to think. If they're going to jump on Twitter and vent about Arteta and the players, they're going to do it. And whether they do it with context is another thing. But yeah, let me get some of you guys. The chat's popping, man. Jesus, I need to keep up. Let's go. Is there a podcast coming our way? I need to do one soon. I'm not sure when. I need to sort of check out timings and when people's available. And yeah, you know what it is, Lottie? I say to people, it's not that sometimes I think I'm too good to work with people, for example, because I've also mentioned a lot of the time about, you know, it's not everybody you collaborate with, because one thing you learn very, very quickly with the YouTube game, I've had this conversation with Guna Souls, Republic of Arsenal, Sophie, and many people in the chat. It's not everybody let onto your platform, whether you've got 1.1 million subscribers, 10,500 or 10. It's not everybody let onto your platform. It just isn't. You got to save a little bit for yourself. And you know, no offense, I'm not going to just randomly collaborate with somebody who I've never spoken to. It makes no logical sense. Like, there's got to be some kind of dialogue there for me to, you know, work with somebody. And you know, like I say to people, the best thing to do: research, watch a lot of YouTube, watch channels, see the chemistry, see the dynamic, then make your own gut instinct feeling of what you're going to do. Yeah, money, Albert. It's easy. Yeah, but yeah, you're right, guy. How can a company makes money from people, stroke group, who agree with everything you see online, good or bad, and then turn away the clients? Spot on, mate. You know, my thoughts, bro. Say does that. Yeah, absolutely, Mark. Uber is my bro. No, so no harsh words or coming round to have some harsh word. Well, you can't come round, Souls, because by the time you get down to London from Manchester, I might not even be in. No, I wouldn't. I wouldn't do that to you, man. It's a long way to come because then we're still doing that. When the lockdown's over, then we'll sort something, man. Bama who? He has a new haircut, man, looking like Travis Scott. He's got another haircut. Jesus Christ. If I could ask, yeah, guys, simple question. There we go. Again, Glenn's got something. Lacquer is kind of hot. Uber is not. Let Uber lie the bench for a couple of games. You know what, Glenn? I can't disagree with my friend. You know what it is? I think I said it yesterday on Same One Arsenal channel yesterday that if, for example, they was going to take the captaincy away from him, I think they've had two opportunities to do it. They could have done it in the earlier part when Arsenal weren't winning games, losing football matches. It was a hard watch for us as Gooners. And just say to Bamiyang, we'll take you out the firing line. We know the things going on with your mum and ill health and you worrying. And I actually think he would have been happy with that. I don't think, we all know the reason why he got the captaincy is because obviously the whole Xhaka thing against Crystal Palace. And then the second opportunity Arsenal could have actually moved the captaincy on from him was the North London Derby thing. Could have, if Arteta went down that route, I wouldn't have had a go at him for it personally. That's just my opinion. People will disagree, but there you have it. That is life. Albert, did you ever see the Francis? I can't pronounce the surname. I'm not going to say interview on Joe Rogan, the best sports interview ever, in my opinion. He lived some life, inspirational. What I'll do, Shane, is drop me a DM with that same message because I'm just going to bloody forget. Because memory is like a sieve some days, and I'll check it out. I will check it out, mate. I appreciate that. Thanks for that. Sophie, what you saying about Uber? I feel for Uber because something must be going on in his private life, and I hope he's okay. But his body language is disappointing. Yeah, absolutely. He's not at his best, and I'd rather see Martinelli or Balogun. Sophie, can't disagree. Can't disagree, guys. What are you saying about signings? I touched upon this sort of briefly yesterday when I was on the Same Old Arsenal channel. Players in, players out. Who would you like to see in? Put it this way. Let me put a question to you in the chat. If Arsenal were to make 3 signings this season, I was going to say 2, but I'm going to give 3 because there's 3 that I want in particular. Who would they be and what positions? There's a question for you. I'm going to tell you who I would like to see. I'm not saying it would happen. It's just my own personal preference. People will agree. People will disagree. Drop in the comments down below when you watch this back on rerun or after the live stream's finished, or live Q&A, sorry. Is that if you could give me Tariq Lamptey or Max Aarons at right back, Basuma and Edward at Celtic, I would be very pleased. That's what I would say. I think the only issue with the Basuma one would be because Arteta has mad faith in Granit Xhaka. The only way it could happen is if he completely bombs Xhaka out of the team. For example, let's say, for example, he buys Basuma from Brighton to play with Thomas Partey, and then Xhaka gets benched. That's the only way it could happen, because I don't think it's a case of we couldn't get Basuma from Brighton. I think it would come down to purely if Arsenal look at him the way I and other fans would want Basuma at the club. Because what we think as fans and what the club want to do, completely chalk and cheese. We know that. So I would love Basuma at Arsenal. I think it would be a match made in heaven potentially with Thomas Partey. Edward, I must admit, was brought to my attention more so. Not that I hadn't heard of him, but brought to my attention. He's not in the chat. RJ Arsenal blog, who does great threads on Twitter. Go and check him out. He's got a channel as well. And he's mentioned about the strengths and weaknesses of Edward. And I looked at it and I thought, when he was first linked with Arsenal, I think it was either the start of this season or when the transfer window was, or last season. I can't remember when it exactly was, but some Arsenal fans are rumbling. They was, SPL, Celtic. Arsenal fans need to stop doing this. The snobbery needs to stop. Absolutely needs to stop. Edward, for me, is a no-brainer. He's in the last year of his contract at Celtic. I don't think he's going to stay. And in the SPL, you've got to remember, it's a lot different than it is in the Premier League when you purchase players. Like, buying Edward for 15 million or 20 million in Scotland is like buying, Arsenal buying an Aubameyang when we bought him for 60 million, for example. Like, that's how much money that is for a club like Celtic. So Arsenal could make that happen. But in order to do that, you got to move on the likes of Lacazette and Nketiah for that to happen. So you could have potentially, going into next season, potentially again, you could have Edward, Martinelli, and Aubameyang and Balogun. Because the thing is with the Aubameyang thing is, Aubameyang's not a spring chicken. Understand? He's at the latter stages of his career, so he's not going to be around forever. So you could have a situation where he will eventually get phased out because he's not going to be the striker he was when he first came to us. So that's the way I'd look at it. Those are the three guys that I would want. Gary Sobers, good shout. If that would be a good dinner guest, to be honest with you. If outside of football, shall I say? Guys, bare people in the chat. Let me go through some of these comments, man, quickly. Let me see. Sophie's got one there. Why doesn't Uber come out to talk when we lose? He comes to talk when we win. People were saying, Sophie, that it's down to. I'm with you, by the way. I think it is weird that he only came out when he scored again, which was against Southampton when we played them at the Emirates. They were saying that when it comes, the broadcasters pick who's going to come out for the interviews. If that's right, and the guys in the chat, let me know if that's right. I think I did hear that yesterday, so that's why. But even then, I'm like, yeah, but you still want your main guy to come out and face the media when it's not going well as when it is going well. So that I kind of agree with you, Sophie, to be honest. Good question, Sophie, again. Do you think Arteta knows his best team? No. What I think is sort of, I think he knows a nucleus of his best team. So I would say probably 7 or 8 players. And then sort of changes in and around like 4 or 5 changes. I think he's probably at the stage of the season now, Sophie, and guys in the chat, where he knows who he doesn't want at the club, but for the remainder of the season, he probably knows who he wants to pick as his best 11, whether we agree or disagree. I think he will, because if he doesn't know that now at this stage of the season, then we're in even bigger trouble than I thought. So I think there's a nucleus of 7 or 8 players he does want to pick week in, week out, but there's always going to be sort of 3 to 4, maximum 5 changes in between that. So yeah, I'd hope that answers the question. Arteta doesn't want to drop Uber sometimes because of what he can do for us, but that's then limiting Martinelli's game time, who is a player for the future. Sometimes we give more to the older players. Fair point, Georgina. I think with the Martinelli thing, I'm going to touch on it quickly because it's my argument has always been, and I understand he's come back from a major injury, Gabriel Martinelli, but none of the strikers this season have been consistently good. None of them have. Eddie, Uber, Laka, they haven't. Period. You can argue the toss or argue to the cows come home. They haven't been consistently good. So on that basis alone, Martinelli should get more game time. Now, that doesn't mean he should start the game and play 90 minutes. I'm talking about giving him 30 minutes, giving him 20 minutes, i.e. 1-0 down against Villa, 10 minutes to go, you bring on Willian, you don't bring on Martinelli. That doesn't make sense to me, because obviously if he's fit to be on the bench, he must be fit to come off for 10 minutes. So that's my answer to that. Guys, big up to you guys in the comments, man. Jesus Christ. Let me try and keep up with this. Let me see. Glenn's got another comment there in the chat. I agree. Some Arteta out people will not give him any credit no matter what. But from my experience, most people that don't want him to be, don't want to be wrong about him. 100%, Glenn. 1,000,000%. I mean, Glenn, I'll give you an example, right? I came across I saw one guy on Instagram, got an Arsenal channel, and he's saying that if Arteta won the Europa League, he would still want him gone. Now, when I talk about context, this is what I'm talking about. This isn't about whether you're Arteta in, Arteta out, or you like him or you don't like him. Want what's best for Arsenal Football Club. So if you would get rid of a manager who would deliver Arsenal's third European trophy ever in our history, and would deliver us our first European trophy since 1994, and you still want him sacked, explain to me why that makes sense to you. Don't get it. Don't get it, mate. Don't need to apologize, Georgina. Much love. Big up Joe in the chat. Joe Carey. Mbappe or Haaland? Ooh, good question. You know what? This might surprise some people. I would say Haaland. Personally, I think if he was to come to England, I mean, he's been linked with everybody. He's linked with Chelsea, City, United. Thought they could get him just because you know Ole Gunnar Solskjaer was Norwegian. I mean, that's not really a good reason to think why you'd get a player. It might help a little bit, but yeah, I if he comes to England, I mean, I've heard rumors Chelsea are interested. I'm like, Chelsea interested in Haaland, but they bought Werner less than however many months ago. You start the season. I mean, Jesus Christ, man. Honestly, Chelsea's. But you know what, Abramovich, I don't think is gonna. Them days of when Abramovich first came and Sheikh Mansour first came, I think them days are slowly being numbered, man. Like, they're not gonna have that outlay. But Haaland is he's the kind of player Arsenal should be in for. But yes, I've said that about many Arsenal. I've said that about many players Arsenal should have been in for, and we ain't even bidded for him, let alone be interested in him. I didn't see it. I need to see that, Mark. I need to see it. Oh, Joe, good question. Kanate, Grealish. Okay, no, sorry. I remember my early question. No, I hear what you're saying, mate. Sorry. Someone said Lukaku, actually, I think it was a couple of weeks ago. Guy, what do you think if I don't think it'll happen. I don't think it happened, Joe, or the guys in chat. But if Lukaku was being tipped to come to Arsenal, what would you guys say to that? What would you say? Physical presence, most definitely. Grealish would love. I think that's a bit of a pipe dream. I always said if Grealish, I think he'll end up going to United personally speaking. Kanate would be a very good shout. But Joe, you know what it is? I don't want to see Arsenal linked with any more centre-backs. We've got about 10,000 centre-backs at the club. What I don't. This is what frustrates me with Arsenal. What leaves me questioning them is that what is our plan going forward with the centre-backs at Arsenal? You know, Ballard, McGuinness are out on loan. Mavropanos is out on loan. That's 3. Chambers 4. Holding 5. Mari 6. Gabriel 7. Louise 8. I mean, that's a lot of centre-backs, man. And they can't all play. And we bought the guy from Hertha Berlin, Rekic. That's 9 centre-backs. So I don't want to think love a centre-back. I really, really don't. I'm hoping I need to try and I need to watch. Someone needs to be my notification person. Let me know when Saliba's playing, and I'll go and watch it. I need to see more of him play. But that's a sort of the short-term stroke long-term plan for him to come back to Arsenal and for it to be him and Gabriel, which I'll be looking forward to when it does eventually happen. Oh, good question. Oh, for next season. Oh, so what we got? So let's go for it. So obviously you've got the main protagonists, both Manchester clubs, Liverpool, Chelsea. That's 4. So dark horses. You know what? If let's just say this season's finished, where everybody finishes, right? It'd be interesting to see where Everton can possibly strengthen more because they got some good players, man. Like Luca Dean, a left back, for me is different class. They brought in Ben Godfrey. They've even been linked with Max Aarons. I don't know how true that is. Say what you want about Michael Keane, but him and Yerry Mina have had decent seasons. Decore's out, bad injury. He's out for 10 weeks. They've got Allen in there. If they make a few more additions in the right area, they could be a dark horse. So I'm going to go Everton. Glenn in the chat again, it's slippery slope to judge Uber's attitude based solely on camera shots during the game. Yeah, I hear you, Glenn. I hear you. I mean, even like I said before earlier in the stream, I could understand before when he wasn't getting the chances. So, but he's actually Aubameyang could have had about 5 hat-tricks this season, to be honest with you, at least. Guys in the chat, big up to you again. Here we go. Who's got any more questions in there? Joe, that's an interesting one because I've actually heard somebody say that. I wouldn't just purely based on. I think you know what I'm going to say. Morales' disciplinary record. He would get wound up rotten in the Premier League because footballers see these things, man. And there's certain players in the Premier League that are just wind up merchants. They're not even good footballers. They're just wind up merchants. So I hear you, but me personally, I would prefer Edouard personally. Mark in the chat, Lamptey, Grealish, Edouard, and Daka. Again, I need to do my research, man. And this because you guys come out with some good shouts, man. Like, and that's what I like about you guys in the chat because you come up with names, right? And this is I've said this before. Sometimes I think the problem with some sections of the Arsenal fan base is they don't watch football outside of watching Arsenal. And that's why you get the response you get when you talk about, as fans, as certain players coming to Arsenal, oh, but he plays for Brighton, but he plays for a lower end of the Championship, but he plays for the Farmers League in France. But that Farmers League is where Yuri Tielemans played for Leicester. He's not a bad player, is he? So we can't be so disparaging and so disrespectful of other leagues because there's some top quality footballers that play in. You know, did Hazard not come from the French league? I mean, come on, man. You know, if the Premier League is seen as the best league, that's fine. You can think that. I don't have an issue with that, but don't sort of have an argument where, you know, every other league is a farmers league or it's not good enough. Bruno Fernandes came from the Portuguese league. Is he not a good player? Like, you know, I think sometimes we need to snap out of the sexy Galactico names, man. We do. Absolutely. Big up, there he is in the chat. RJ Arsenal. People, go and subscribe to my brother, man. My brother from another mother. Big up to you, Ryan, mate. Big up to you. Yeah, definitely, man. So seriously, tell me, because trying to do YouTube and then support other people's channels and then, you know, having a job, but won't have a job very soon. Just yeah, and having to move as well. So yeah, there's a lot going on in AlbertJTV's life outside of YouTube, man. Jesus. Mad. Gary, what you got there, man? If Arsenal don't make any changes, can Arteta improve the team standing in the table? I fear summer make break transfer period will be broke. Gary, you know what it is? And I'm not going to touch on the FFP thing because they're saying that could come in effect next season, I believe. If I've heard that right, I know there was a meeting today between I can't remember between, is it either FIFA and UEFA and the European Parliament or government? I can't remember, about implementing the changes for FFP. So either that might come too late for this window. Gary, you know what it is? I think I said it earlier. He's gonna live and die by the sword by picking the likes of Bellerin, Xhaka, Louise, and Willian. Because us as Arsenal fans, you can't come out 1 minute and hammer these guys. And I'm not even talking about like criticize. I'm talking about hammering them, destroying them on social media. And then 2 weeks later, you turn around and say they're good squad players. That makes that I can't fathom. That doesn't make sense to me. Either you want better quality in order for these guys to be moved on, or you want to keep them and then miss out on other better potential suitors. It makes no sense, mate. To me. What about Calvert-Lewin, who with better player behind him could push him on further? Just see his goals here. James with Hammers playing. Yeah, Lewin's been Dominic Calvert-Lewin. He's been outstanding, man. He showed signs for me a lot last season, but he's coming to season. He's been outstanding. I've heard a lot of people say go for him. I don't think you know what he would be. I'd love to have Dominic Calvert-Lewin at Arsenal. Trust me. He's a mate. What this Dominic Calvert-Lewin heading ability is insane. Oh my god, absolutely brilliant. I'd love him at Arsenal, Georgina, but unfortunately, my monopoly money is not going to cover that potential purchase. Guys, we are 56 minutes in. I'm going to wrap up soon. Because if I try to read out all your comments, I'm going to be here till about 9 o'clock. But guys, big up to you in the chat for coming out in force, man. It's been brilliant. Guys, watching this is going out live on Facebook Live and Periscope. If you're not watching it now, watch it back on catch up. And like I said, smash the like button and subscribe to my channel and get me on all my social media. Big up to the guys in the chat, man. Do you think some fans who have YouTube channels who dislike Arteta want Arsenal to lose just because it suits their agenda? Short answer to that is yes, because if you think about it logically, if you're vehemently, capital letters, vehemently against Arteta, him doing well would be, to be honest, be a YouTuber's nightmare who dislikes Mikel Arteta. It's obvious because obviously if he does well, could you imagine Shane, right? And people in the chat. I said I don't think we win Europa League personally. That's just my personal opinion. I would love to be proved wrong. You know, I'm lucky enough. I'm old enough to remember our last European trophy. A lot of people aren't. Some people weren't even alive when we won an European trophy in 1994. It's a long time, Shane, and people in the chat. But it'd be the worst thing. It for those who personally have it in for Arteta, and I mean personally, like to me, it goes beyond football for some people. But yeah, it'd be their worst nightmare, Shane, if he does well, because you're going to lose a traction of your sort of. Now, to be fair, if you've got a channel where you're Arteta out and you've got quite a big subscriber base, then they're not going to change their minds. I mean, they're going to be happy when we win, but then obviously, if you win the Europa League, Arteta's a head coach, so you're not just or manager. Sorry. So yeah, mate. I don't know. Yeah, Mark. I know. I hear what you're saying. Georgina did a good shot. Yeah, I would love Dominic Calvert, but we've got no hope, man. Maybe a couple of years ago we could have got him. Why do we have to leave England to find players? What English players would you pick for the free spots? Oh, Gary, Jesus Christ, mate. Good question, man. Well, I'm gonna say I don't know, Gary. I don't know if you heard me in the chat earlier. I said that the three players I would want. I mean, they're not English, but one plays in Scotland, obviously, and two play in the Premier League, and that's Lamptey, Basuma, and Hudson Edward. So hopefully that will answer your question. Yeah, that covers all three. Yeah, hopefully that covers it. Gary, who would yours be, mate? Let me know. Yes, I can rely on my boy, man. RJ Arsenal vlog, man. This guy, trust me, man. This guy knows his stuff. I'm gonna big him up. I'm gonna embarrass him. I'm gonna embarrass you, Rank. I like you, but Rowan for me, and I've said this publicly to him. It's not a secret. He's not, and I've said this to other people who follow RJ Arsenal vlog. He is someone who is of the younger generation who speak brilliantly and articulately about football without just, you know, over exuberance and passion. It needs to be more structured and more balanced and with a bigger picture. And Rowan nails that to a T. So, bruv, you know what, you're a good one, man. Absolutely. Saliba's developing really well, Albert. He's made mistakes, which he's going to do yet, but his all-round performances have been really strong. Slight weaknesses he's heading, gets himself in awkward positions. Good shout again. Listen, guys, you know, this guy's our player, so it's in our best interest to go see what he's doing this season. Rowan's, you know, perfectly kind of described it there to you if you haven't watched him play this season for Nice. So, yeah, Rowan, much love to you, bro. And guys, I'm an hour in. I'm going to wrap up soon. So, guys, I want to thank you again. Smash the like button if you haven't already. And yeah, guys, your interaction in the chat's been amazing. And plus, I want to get a Friday night takeaway. And you know what it is as well. To be honest, the reason why I've done the Q&A, first reason is because I haven't done one in a long time. And you guys have asked me to do one, so there you have it. And secondly, I live next door to students, and I don't know when they're going to go off and start having a late night party. So that is why I'm doing a Q&A at 6 o'clock at the time I've done it. Carey, I've just born off for 2004 season. Mate, that's the thing. It's because I would say the early 20s in terms of Arsenal fan base, male and female, you would have supported us in a time when we haven't been successful. We've declined as a football club. Off the pitch marketing, yeah, fantastic. There's money, there's people and money men to do that side of it. But yeah, you mate, you hit the spot. You know, you, Joe, Sophie in the chat, Georgina, I can't remember how old you are. I think you're just on the cusp of that. But yeah, it's tough, like, you know, because it's frustrating to watch them. And it has been. Yes, listen, there have been many clubs in the Premier League that will be happy with 4 FA Cups since 2004. Very happy with that. Look at Everton, haven't won a trophy since the FA Cup final in 1995. And that's under an English manager and Joe Royle. That's going way back. So to the younger generation, what I would say, as someone that served 21 years plus VAT, it's going to be a bumpy road. It's going to be a very, 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 very bumpy road. But stick with your team, because what you're going to do, you're going to wake up tomorrow morning or at the end of the season and, you know, Arsenal might not win the Europa League or we finish 8th in the league. You're going to stop supporting Arsenal. You're going to go and support somebody else. You can do that, obviously. But if you love the club, you've got to stick with them through thick and thin, man. It's not easy. Listen, like I said, I've been fortunate enough to see one of our European successes. I was lucky enough to see, even though I didn't go to the Highbury era, you know, lucky enough to see Ian Wright playing, Kevin Campbell and Kevin Richardson and Paul Merson and David Seaman and Paul Davis. I was lucky to see that. I was lucky to see that generation of footballers. You know, some of you are going to be too young. I have to remember we won the league in 1990, 91. I've got that right. If I've got that wrong, we lost one league game. We conceded 17 or 18 goals that season, losing one league game. George Graham, love the guy to pieces. He's my favorite manager of all time at Arsenal. Yes, I like Wenger, I have respect for him, but George Graham's my guy. But big up Guns Yellow Ribbers in the chat. Where are you? Right, no worries, bruv. Guna Soul's gone. Hook up with this guy, man. Get in touch with him. Trust me. Big up to you guys. Guns Yellow Ribbers in the chat. Newcastle, not since 1952. Jesus Christ. Oh, man. Arsenal is hard, man. Make it. You know what? That's why I actually preferred it international break. I know people don't like the international break on the football because you're missing Arsenal, but listen, sometimes in life you need a break from certain things, and Arsenal sometimes I can do with a little bit of a break from, even though we're talking about them now. So, you know, feel like I'm probably contradicting myself. But guys, that's sort of me coming to an end of the show, man. Once again, I can't get through. I've got through most of the comments, but I've seen a few people pop up. Enrico, my guy, man. Hope you're doing well, my brother. Thank you, man. Thanks for subscribing recently. In fact, you just reminded me, guys who've recently subscribed to the channel, Instagram community, been brilliant the last few months. Twitter community, friends outside of YouTube world, love you to pieces. Thank you for the support. Listen, like I mentioned earlier in the stream, people's time to me means more than anything. Absolutely 100%. Yes, I want more subscribers. Yes, I want to make a success of it and, you know, earn a living from it potentially. A lot of people do. You know, YouTube's huge long last 5-6 years, but it takes time. It takes time. Put the work in. Like I said, be authentic and quality over quantity. 100%. And one more thing, networking. Do not let that go by the wayside at all. Let's go. Oh, let's go through a few comments, guys. I'm going to wrap up. I'm going to read the last few comments. Everyone needs to follow, subscribe to Albert's first and foremost. One of the best around, not only on YouTube, but all on other social media platforms. Rowan, if I could shake your hand, I'm sending you a virtual hug now, man. I appreciate the kind words. You said some very kind words to me personally, off camera. And yeah, much love for you, bro, man. Absolutely. When we can eventually meet people again, there's going to be some amazing link ups, and bro, we need to go to a game together or whatever, man. But yeah, a lot of respect for you, and thank you for your kind words, man. It means a lot. It does. Fergus, much love to you as well, man. Thank you for allowing me on your platform. People, go and subscribe to Guns Yellow Ribbons. Trev, Fergus, love you, bros. Love you guys to pieces, man. And Potsy, if you're watching. Actually, no, he's not watching because he's doing a live stream on Table on Arsenal. Well, yeah, go on, Mark. Mark's in a lot of football. Mark knows his stuff, man. Absolutely, Fergus. Absolutely, Fergus. You know what it is though? I don't drink, no, man. So if you guys get hammered, man, like don't get hammered too much, man, because I've got to make sure you guys get home, man. And you got wives, so I don't want them being angry at me. So no, but I can't wait for the beat ups, man. It's gonna be fantastic. Thanks for your kind words as well, mate, off camera and support and allow me onto your platform. You know, means the world, man. And it's if we say don't have yours, absolutely you can, man. You can. Guys, that's me. I'm done. Kieran, hello, cheers, mate. Kieran, you might have to watch it on the catch up because I'm done. But thanks for tuning in, mate. I've seen a couple new people come up in the chat, so listen, that's only a good thing for me. Guys, as I said, I am the host, AlbertJTV. Click, like, share, and subscribe. Smash the like button. You see my guys, I'll big them up in the chat who've got channels. Guns Yellow Ribbons, RJ Arsenal Vlog, Gooner Souls, Republic of Arsenal. Anybody I've missed out, come and follow the guys on their Twitter handles as well. Big up to you guys in the chat. That is me. I'm just trying to find my end bit, man. So I can log out and go and relax with a Friday night takeaway. So people, that is me, AlbertJTV, over and out. Hashtag live Q&A. Come on, you Gunners.